So here we are talking to Rudy from the Quiet Right. How are you doing today?
I am blessed. How about yourself? How you doing?
Not too bad. We've been getting a lot of rain here in the on the East Coast, and so hopefully it stays away for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my first M3 ever.
Oh, really? It's your actually. I
So,
didn't realize that's your first M3.
yes, this is going to be my first M3, and I actually played in 19, I believe it was 1981. Yeah, I played at Meriwether Post. It wasn't even finished yet with Ozzy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember because Randy and I were backstage looking at the place, and we were going like, "Wow, this place is going to be great when it's finished."
Yeah. Well, I guarantee it looks a lot different now than it probably did in 1981.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah, because I know they did some re-innovating, like they redid it a lot of it a few years ago too.
Huh. Yeah, as I recall, it didn't have a cover on the, it was just like an amphitheater setting.
Yeah. Now it's got the whole thing around it, and they got a pool in the backstage area and everything.
A pool. Well,
Yep.
I'll make sure to bring my speedos.
Awesome, but yeah, I was kind of shocked that I would have figured you would have done M3 before. I was gonna ask, like, but now that
No.
so are you excited? Because you probably have heard all the the crazy stuff about M3 and how Marylanders are. Are you excited about playing the M3 then?
Yeah, of course I'm super excited. Like I mentioned, I've played Meriwether Post many times, so I'm very used to the awesome, audience,
Yeah.
the Maryland audience. And as a matter of fact, uh, Hammerjacks
Yeah.
was one of the, yeah, quite right. Back in the day in '83, we used to play there, hang out there. It was great. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
incredible memories.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like especially this area of Maryland, is really really big on the the '80s style of bands and music and stuff like that, which makes sense why this is the 14th year of doing M3.
Yeah, I can't wait. But we're really, really looking forward to it.
So I mean, other than that, I mean, I know you guys have done a few tour dates recently, and then you guys have a few tour dates lately. Later on. How's the tour been treating you guys so far?
Well, the tour, last year we did about 70 dates, and this year we're looking forward to adding a few more, probably about 80, and because we're celebrating 40 years of mental health.
Yeah.
And you only get 1 year to be 40 years, so this is a very special, tour for us. And, when we go up there, it's just, we kick ass in celebration of the memory of Frankie Banali, Kevin Dubrow, and Randy Rhoads, and,
Yeah.
And the legacy of the band. So that's what it's all about.
Oh yeah, for sure. The last time I interviewed you right before you did the Headbangers Con. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so how did you when I talked to you it was before the con. How did you enjoy after doing it?
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. I mean, as I recall, it was virtual,
Yeah.
so it was it was different.
Yeah.
I've done, I've done a few cons. Matter of fact, it's been a while since I've done a con. Oh my God, I think it's been since before COVID. Yeah, that's the first time that I did a con in person. Of course, and then COVID happened, and then after COVID, I got really busy. I was still playing with the Guess Who at the time, and then I rejoined Choir Riot in
Yeah.
2021. And I haven't, I get requests to appear in cons, but it's just, all my weekends are taken, with Choir Riot.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the last time I talked to you, I asked you to tell me a story. So if you have another funny story about just about hanging out with Frankie, hanging out with Kevin, hanging out with Randy that you'd like to share.
Well, let's see. Funny stuff. Wow. I got more funny stuff with Ozzy because Ozzy was so unique.
Yeah.
So predictably unpredictable.
Oh, for sure.
You woke up every day and you went, okay, I wonder what he's going to do today. You know, so with Ozzy, oh no, it's just come on, him pissing on the Alamo. I mean, who saw that coming?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, biting the bat on stage. I didn't see that coming that morning. I say, oh yeah, tonight Ozzy's gonna bite at the head of the bat on stage.
Yeah.
And there's just so many crazy stuff in between. But I gotta say, he was the funniest bandmate that I've ever had. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, like, like you said, waking up and you're like, oh God, what's he gonna do today?
Yeah.
Are we gonna make to the concert? Are we gonna be like, deported or arrested or worse?
Yeah. Let's see how this day turns out. But then again, it's Ozzy. It was just magical. To wake up every day and to know that evening you're going to be performing with Randy Rhoads and Tommy and Ozzy, and then later on with Don Eric.
Yeah.
It was just magical. What's really interesting is that you just get used to that magic. You just take it for granted that this is what I do.
Yeah.
I get up on stage with these incredible musicians and we play the incredible songs, so it's like, wow. And then after Randy passed away, that really took, the wind out of our sails, and it was like, wow, it was definitely a time for reflection and a time for like making some tough decisions. Like mine was to leave Ozzy.
Yeah.
The tough decision was not going with Quiet Riot. To me, that was kind of like the clear thing that I needed to do to get the joy of playing music again. But it was, saying goodbye to Ozzy and Sharon because they have been so wonderful with me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's life. Life is it's a journey full of decisions that you have to make every day.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like especially being able to play with Randy Rhoads. How was it like being able to just be able to be that close to him and watch him play? Because at that time there was nobody that played like the way he played.
Well, it wasn't just that. I mean, yes, that was part of it. But I'm the only musician that got to play with Randy in both Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
So I did witness the metamorphosis of Randy being the local guitar hero to becoming a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, there's not many guitar players who have entered the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on their own.
Yeah.
Not because of the band, but of themselves. Their creativity and performances and recordings and all of the above. Compositions, and so Randy is the only musician I've ever been in a band with that comes from an musical academic family. Mm-hmm. His family, mom and dad, were music professors, and they own a music school. The family, as a matter of fact, still stands. It's called Musonia. And so Randy was deep into classical music, reading, sheet music, harmony, theory, all of the above, even before he was in a rock band.
Yeah.
He got in a rock band because he wanted to hang out with kids his own age and have fun. But he did that with an incredible musical depth. That because of the format of the music that they were playing, he was not able to show it all. With Quiet Riot, it wasn't until he joined Ozzy, and I asked Randy, what happened? How were you able to go from what you were doing, in Quiet Riot to what you were doing with Ozzy, composition wise, And he says, well, when I started playing with Ozzy, I asked him, what do you want me to write? And Ozzy said, just be yourself. And that's when he got deep into his classical, his classical side of that was always there. But I never saw Randy until I started teaching at Musonia bass. I became the bass teacher there. I had never seen Randy play classical guitar before because with Quiet Riot, our rehearsals or on stage, he always played his, electric guitar.
Yeah.
Mostly, he would use the Les Paul if he was doing some quiet passages, classical picking type. But it's not the same as if you're sitting down and playing a classical piece on the classical guitar, which is what he used to do between students, between lessons. He used to pick up the classical guitar and start playing it. I'm going, oh my God, I didn't know you play like that. He says, well, in Quiet Riot, we just don't do that.
Yeah.
But with Ozzy, it was a whole different thing. Ozzy said, yeah, let's go. Let's go in this direction.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Ozzy had to fight the record company to make sure that D was included on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So playing with Randy and his musical, dedication to music, musical integrity that he had was beyond anybody that I've ever played with. 99% of the times that I was with Randy, he had a guitar in his hands.
Yeah.
And he was playing it. And sometimes he was just like right before the show. I mean, there's photos all over the internet. He's sitting there right before the show in the dressing room with a classical piece, and he's just practicing it on the classical guitar that he carried with him on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of like it almost felt like it was meant to be, especially with him and Ozzy, because with the classical, he was able to play as fast and crazy, and then you had Ozzy, who was fast and crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain harmony and modality to classical music that you can actually bring that into metal.
Yeah.
Because, if you listen to a lot of the what I call the heavy composers like Wagner.
Yep.
Beethoven, even some of Tchaikovsky and Rimsky-Korsakov, they can get really, really heavy and emotional.
Oh, yeah.
So you can bring a lot of that into metal.
Yeah.
That was like the early form of heavy metal, listening to those composers, with an orchestra.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because, you take something like that with, what Trans-Siberian Orchestra does. I mean, they basically just took that, that old classical music and kind of brought it into a more modern kind of metal. And then another guitarist that you've worked with, John 5, he's also really, really into that classical music. He makes that stuff, the way he plays his guitar is insane how crazy.
Oh yeah, no, I know Johnny very well, and I put a band together with him when he was 19 years old. So I've seen him grow as a musician, but he always had that focus. Again, that's another one that rarely I would see him without a guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because pretty much all the time he's posting videos, it's him playing guitar. Someone will post a video of him at warm-ups, and they're like, that was a warm-up? It was like a 45-minute guitar shred.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing with musicians and stuff like that. I know you guys have Johnny Kelly playing with you. How's it like playing with him?
Well, yeah, it's Johnny Kelly. I mean, for me to say it's great, it's not enough. I got to give you a whole background as how the whole thing came about. Every single guy in the band, Alex, Jizzy, and Johnny, they have been picked by previous members of Quiet Riot, meaning Kevin DeBro and or Frankie. Mm-hmm. So when in the case of Alex Crosby, he was picked by Kevin. So Alex has been in the band over 20 years.
Yeah.
And Kevin groomed him in everything about Quiet Riot, And then you have Jizzy. Kevin was a fan of Love Hate, and he really, really liked Jizzy's voice and singing style. So, Jizzy got, the Quiet Riot. And beyond that, to be honest with you, Jizzy comes from the same Sunset Strip scene as Quiet Riot did. He's just a couple of generations, he's more of the 80s strip scene, and Quiet Riot was more of the 70s strip scene, Sunset Strip. So, but he gets it. He comes from the same roots as we do. So he's the perfect guy, and then you got Johnny Kelly, who Kevin first time I heard Typo, Kevin brought a CD on the tour bus and said, "Hey, check this out." And we heard it and said, "Wow, this is really cool," you know. And so, we became Typo fans, and 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 Frankie is the one who picked Johnny, to take his place. So all of these guys, they've been picked, they've been groomed, they're all like the right musicians to carry on the legacy of the band. So I couldn't be any more happy with how the band sounds and how great we get along, and it's just a great family.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing this version of Quiet Riot too.
Yeah, it's really I gotta tell you, it's very special for me to get up on stage with Alex and Johnny and Jizzy and celebrate the legacy of the band and the memory of like I mentioned, Frankie and Kevin and Randy every night.
Oh yeah, for sure. So one of the questions I always ask somebody, it's always kind of like a loaded question because it's a little tough. But if you had to pick one Quiet Riot song that you wanted to put into a time capsule that civilization finds hundreds of years ago, like later, what song would you want them to find?
Definitely Thunderbird. I mean, for so many reasons. I mean, how after Randy passed away, like I mentioned, I needed to move on. I needed to find the joy of making music again. So as I was in LA and I was waiting to go to New York to record "Speak of the Devil" with Ozzy, and I get a call from Kevin and says, "Hey, we're working here on a possible record in the studio. How would you like to come down and record in Thunderbird?" Now Kevin put together a band called Dubrow when Randy left Quiet Riot to join Ozzy. So that was the end of Quiet Riot, that era. Then came Dubrow, and I played with Kevin in Dubrow. I lived with Kevin up until the day I joined Ozzy. So, I knew Thunderbird from playing it with him. And, here I go in the to the studio to record that song, and there's Frankie Banali on drums, who I met 10 years prior to that in Florida on my birthday, November 18th, 1972. And we started playing together immediately. And we left Florida and wound up in Chicago, played the Midwest circuit, moved to LA, tried to make it. And we had bands, we lived together, we did all that. And then finally, 10 years later, we are in the studio recording Thunderbird. And Carlos, I had just met. I never played with him before. But, Frankie and Kevin, they're part of my musical family. And just, that session early that we tracked Thunderbird, that was the first song. And then there was a lot of time left in the session. And they asked me, "Hey, do you remember Slick by Cadillac?" I said, "Well, I haven't played that in a couple of years, but, let's give it a couple of takes." And we tracked that and a couple of other Dubrow songs that wound up on Mental Health. And by the time I left the session, it's like, wow, I got the joy of making music again. I found my family again, because I lost it when Randy died.
Yeah,
I lost that Quiet Riot familiarity that I had, and I got it back when I did that session. That wound up as after I leave. And a couple of days later, go to New York to record "Speak of the Devil" with Ozzy, and I came back to LA, and I called up Sharon and say, "Listen, I gotta tell you, I'm going I'm gonna be playing with with the new Quiet Riot," and that was one of the toughest phone calls I've ever made in my whole life.
Yeah,
because they Sharon Ozzy, they took really great care of me. They were wonderful, but it was painful to go on stage every single night and play those songs. It's the same set. We had the same castle, the same dwarf running around, the same set list, but just Randy wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. But like you were saying, about being the 40th, year of Mental Health and stuff like that, how crazy is that 40 years later, Bang Your Head is still just an awesome metal anthem as it was 40 years ago.
Yeah, and my perception of that is that it was actually the soundtrack to a collective consciousness that was already happening. And I'll give you the background of that song. That's the music for the song. Carlos Cavazo brought that in to Dubrow. And the band Dubrow, because it wasn't officially named Choir Riot yet. It officially got renamed Choir Riot when I joined the band in October. And it came out on the new Choir Riot newsletter, because it was the Choir Riot fan club. You know, back in the day, there were fan clubs.
Yeah.
So there was no social media, you know. and then the Choir Riot fan club turned into the Dubrow fan club, that to turn it back into the Choir Riot mental health version of the band fan club. And it was announced in October 82 about the band being renamed Choir Riot. I'm back in the band, and the record deal has been signed. So, so we were okay. What was what we were talking about? Because I went into something else here to explain it.
We were talking about like Bang Your Head still being.
Oh yeah, Bang Your Head. So I mentioned about Carlos Cavazo coming in, bringing it back to Dubrow, and originally it was titled "No More Booze." No more booze. What a drag. Down. Okay. So Randy and I, because again, there was no texting, no nothing. I know Randy was really into writing postcards and sending it to Kevin and his family and friends and stuff like that on the road, you know. But I didn't do that. You know, what I would do is, along with Randy, as soon as we got back to LA on a break from Aussie, we would go to Kevin's house, pick him up, and then head out to the Rainbow. And that's when we would give him the update. Because he had, you were isolated in Los Angeles. You had no idea what was going on in Europe or England, you know, or even the rest of America, where we were touring, you know, with Ozzy. And also we have been touring in Europe and England. So in one of our breaks, we had just come back from England, and we get together with Kevin, and we tell him, listen, you know, you're not going to believe this. The audiences are so crazy in England that the kids, they bang their heads on the stage while we're playing. And they would do that. Because remember, a lot of what the fan base that became metal fans, I'm talking about, you know, Iron Maiden and Motorhead and Judas Priest fans, those were into punk before. They went from the Sex Pistols to Motorhead, Maiden, and Judas Priest. But the same consciousness, you know, it was a tough crowd. And these kids were like hardcore, and they would bang their heads on the stage. You know, and so Kevin took that whole imagery and created the song, which actually became the soundtrack to that consciousness of the metal scene and the metal crowd that were coming to our shows. The anthem, that became the anthem.
Oh yeah, because as I said, like, you know, like just you said, you know, that just went perfectly, and then with the imagery of the album and all that kind of stuff, it was just like I remember when that came out, man, I was just like a little kid, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
yeah, definitely. definitely.
So going back to M3 a little bit. So this being your first time, you know, playing there, are there any bands or any people that you're kind of excited to see that you haven't seen or haven't talked to in, like, you know, a long time?
Oh, I you know, we toured last year, and we did basically, you know, there was a lot of festivals, and I got to see a lot of people, and I'm looking forward to seeing them again. You know,
yeah,
I'm friends with the guys in Styx and Extreme, and let's see, Winger's playing too, right?
Yeah, you got Winger. That's a really good lineup that first day too. That Saturday is gonna be. I mean, not that Sunday's not bad too. Sunday's good too.
Yeah, so we did a lot of shows with Winger this past year. So it's always great to see Kip. It's such an old,
Yeah.
great old friend. Great band too.
Do you guys have anything you're working on as far as new material for Quiet Riot?
Well, recently we released a new song called "I Can't Hold On." It's been getting some really good airplay.
Okay.
We got a couple songs in the can, but it's just our strategy now is to release one song instead of like releasing a whole record at a time.
Yeah.
And then when there's a need or a need for us to release a whole album, we will. But as of right now, we're just doing like a song at a time, which is the way it used to be back.
Yeah.
Back in the '60s, you just release singles.
Oh yeah, that's the thing nowadays. Is like just release the singles. Get those out and see, like you said, see how it runs, and then.
Yeah. See, the issue with a band like us that's been around for with an album as iconic as Metal Hill, been around for 40 years, is that there's 2 albums that we have to play a lot of songs from, otherwise the audience feels cheated that we didn't play the songs that they came to hear. So if you start releasing new albums, you're kind of like, okay, we have to do 2 or 3 from the new album, and there's no room on the set list.
Yeah.
So so yes, we can release one song at a time, and then we include that song which we are playing. I Can't Hold On, and then when we release the next one, that will replace I Can't Hold On.
Yeah,
so that way we don't mess up with the set list that includes the must play songs.
Yeah. Now, when you're talking about that, because I've talked to other bands about that before, is there a must play song that the fans want that you just kind of don't like playing, or not as
no. Hey, listen, I with a couple of exceptions, I recorded all those songs except for The Wild and the Young that we do and Metal Hell.
Yeah,
I recorded everything else. So it's like actually what I do is I put fresh ideas into the playing, because it's 40 something years later.
Yeah.
And I feel that I have grown as a musician, so I should not limit myself to the musician that I used to be. It's more the musician who I am today.
Oh yeah.
So I play it the way I play today rather than the way I used to play.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the energy, yes, it's the same energy and the same attitude on stage, but with a more musical version of myself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, anything else you wanna say before I let you go?
No. I think we've had a really packed, informational conversation here. I really enjoyed your questions.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see. Like I said, definitely be there this weekend. I'll be doing photos, and I think my buddy's got an interview with you at the festival, so I probably might be with him. So we'll definitely run into each other.
Looking forward to it.
Hey man,
take care.
You have a good one, man.
You too. God bless. Bye bye.